why the name Two Bros Lit? I know that the first episode of any podcast is the most listened to, and in our first episode, we wanted to make sure that you knew that we weren't high on something we weren't supposed to be high on, other than maybe each other's love. So let's get it.
Dude, how long did you think about that introduction? You've been practicing all morning, haven't you?
No, 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 no. So this is how my brain works. So we are Two Bros Lit. The reason why we wanted to choose the name Two Bros Lit is because I went into ChatGPT and we wanted to name the podcast something where we're two bros that laugh all the time, that talk about crazy topics, and it's something that we did a lot of. Like we're already talking a lot. I mean, if not every week, then every other week. And so went to ChatGPT, thought of names, and it came up with Two Bros Lit. Now the concern is that we're smoking something that we shouldn't be smoking, but the reality is whenever we talk, we always have cigars with us because cigars are just the perfect encouragement to conversation. I don't know. Do you feel the same way about cigars?
I mean, as you hear this 7 seconds later, no, man, we started talking like 3 or 4 years ago, and I would go outside, and you would be like, "Hey, I'm smoking a cigar. Call you in 15. Yeah, sure. Let me grab a cigar." And then we go grab a cigar, and that's just like we talk about everything. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of this because we're like, oh, it'd be a great idea to do a podcast. What was that, like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago? We're thinking about
A
it being
while
a
ago,
podcast.
yeah. We've talked about it for a
And
while.
right. So we're like, just pull the trigger, let's do it. And who cares like who's listening? It's just fun to chat, smoke cigars, and talk about life.
So, what cigar are you smoking? Because this is the first episode, and I'm pulling out a Padron 1964 anniversary edition. This isn't my favorite cigar, but this is the first podcast. This is the first episode. So, I wanted a really good cigar in order to do our first podcast with. What are you smoking?
Well, how much does yours cost?
So, I bought a box, I think, of 25 for, I'm going to say $400. This is an older cigar. I think I bought it in 2017. Um, so $25 maybe for this cigar, but it's a good one. You know, this is a reason to smoke a really good cigar.
$1, maybe $2. It depends. I'm smoking a JC Newman Corum, and I would have a better
Jason Newman's a
cigar.
good cigar.
It's okay, but I'd have a better cigar. Um, but I told you last week or 2 weeks ago that when we went to Tenerife, I was going to pick up like 75, 125 cigars. And when I got to the cigar shop, they were closed. So I would have been smoking a better cigar for our first episode, but maybe next time I will come better equipped with a better cigar.
No, no, no. So from here on out, I'm smoking cheap cigars. It's only a good cigar for the first episode. Maybe for episode 100, we can smoke really
Okay.
expensive cigars. What do you think?
Well, remember when we were in
Episode
North,
100?
no, North Carolina when we were at the beach? We rented that beach house,
Yeah,
and you brought like
right.
this $250 cigar, and we're like smoking it. And while we're smoking it, I'm like, "Oh my, this is so good," but it was trash. And I'm like, I just would rather have like
You're
my $3 cigar, But it's okay. I'm glad you're
so
smoking what
that
you want to
that
smoke.
cigar that cigar specifically was from Cuba. So I had a friend who went to Cuba during the lapse of the embargo, and she bought me like 100 Cuban cigars.
Hmm.
So that was one that I had left, and on the free market, it was selling for like $250 or something like that. But you had never had a really
Right,
good Cuban cigar, and like
right.
just to be clear, Cubans suck compared to
Yeah,
regular cigars. Like I would rather have this cigar any day of the week than a Cuban. Like Cubans, especially for the price point, like this cigar was $25. The
yeah,
Cuban was 250. There's no freaking way that I would rather smoke that Cuban, even if the Cuban was $10. I would rather smoke this than that $10 Cuban, saving $15 on a cigar. So there's nothing special about Cubans.
I agree.
So our first introduction to cigars, and the reason why we love smoking cigars and talking, the reason why we call this podcast Two Bros Lit, is because you were the one that actually introduced me to cigars. Do you remember that story? And what is your recollection of that story? Do you
Well,
remember it?
I was coming to visit you in Tennessee. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were staying in an
You're
apartment.
correct.
I stopped by a gas station and got like a cherry flavored cigar that's like $2 at the gas station. And I'm like, dude, try this. This thing, cigars are amazing. You smoked it. I don't think you liked it. Um, and I think that was the first time that we smoked together. That was like what, 2007, maybe
That was
2006.
2000 and yeah, 2007. Had you
Okay.
smoked cigars before that point?
Depend if it was 2007. Yes, I had. So it was my first introduction to cigars was with my buddy Haddon Lauk. I stayed with him when I was a senior in college, and we would smoke every Thursday night. Kind of the similar things that we do on Saturdays. Like we would light up a cigar, and man, we would just sit back, we would chill, and just talk about life. And sometimes it got deep. Sometimes it was just, hey man, that's a good cigar. Have a good night. But that's when it all started for me.
But it's something about cigars that just encourage good conversation. I mean, it's something to do. So if somebody's talking, you don't have this awkward silence. You can just take a moment and you can take a puff. And for people who don't smoke cigars, and I don't know how you feel about it, but it's not the feeling that you get from smoking cigars, it's the experience. So it's not like it's marijuana or even cigarettes, because cigarettes give you this calmness, I guess. And I do get calmness from smoking cigars, but it's not from the nicotine that's in the cigar, even though there is nicotine. It's from the experience of drawing the smoke into your mouth, puffing it out, seeing the smoke dissipate in the air above me, and then hearing good conversation while I'm smoking. Like, that's the reason why I get a high when I'm smoking a cigar. There's no other reason. Like, it's nothing like alcohol, or it's not marijuana or any type of drug. It's the actual experience of smoking the cigar. Same with you?
Like for me, when I smoke, like if I'm not talking to you, like I mean, there was like a year or two where I smoked every day. I know you smoke every day. I don't smoke every day, but there was like a
I
year
actually
where
had to
I
stop.
smoked. Yeah, because of your stuff. But like when about a year,
Acid
maybe a year,
reflux. Yeah.
I was smoking I was smoking one a day, sometimes two a day. And the reason why I was doing it because smoking cigars gets me into like a very deep meditative thinking state. So if I want to think about something or create something or write about something or get deeper in something, I know that if I smoke a cigar, give me 20 minutes, no matter what happened during the day before that, smoke a cigar, like my mind is relaxed. And I mean, for me, that's why if I'm by myself, that's why I like smoking cigars.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you have a favorite cigar? Like, if there was one cigar
Hmm.
that you could smoke, do you have any experience with any specific cigar? Do you have like a favorite?
I mean, you're the connoisseur now. Like I don't, I buy what's cheap, kinda. But my absolute favorite cigar is a Canary Island. I know we talk about this, like we're kind of like talking about things that we always talk about, which is cool. But there's a cigar from the Canary Islands that every time I go there, I stock up on. That's probably like my favorite, just because I love the Canary Islands. But I would say my favorite that I smoke a lot of out here in Germany is a Jose Piadra, which is a Cuban, but it's like a three
Right?
euro a stick, and so I smoke a lot of that, and it's cheap, it's in my price range, it tastes good, it has it lasts the length that I want it to last, and I think that's probably my go-to cigar.
Again, it's all coming back to that experience. Like, when
Hmm.
you're mentioning it, and granted, like there's taste, and there are smells with cigars, and there's flavor, and there's a richness to it and a boldness to it. But when you're describing a cigar, like, you're describing the experience. The reason you like the Canary Island cigar is because of the experience you have when
Hmm.
you're at the Canary Islands smoking your cigar. And
Right,
that's the
right,
reason why we smoke. Like, that's the
right.
reason why we wanted to name the podcast this as well. But if I had to say what my favorite cigar would be, and I think you smoked it with me, but back in 2015, I was going through a really hard time, and so I bought a 10 pack of the 1964 Padron, but it was the Maduro. So this is actually the natural, and I, looking back on it, like, it's an excellent cigar. Like, it's really good. but I'm definitely more of the darker wrapper type. And so I
Mm.
wish that I had bought the Maduro of this, but I do have three left from that original 10 pack that I bought back in 2015. And I
Oh,
think I
that's 10
bought
years
that
already.
for, yeah, I think I bought it for 250 bucks 10 years ago. But I have three left, and those three actually, we have another brother. So whenever the three of us finally do get together at the same time in the
Neil.
same place where we can smoke a cigar, shout out to Neil. Then I'm gonna break those out. Like, and if the age on those cigars, the smoothness of those cigars, um, are just amazing. So that would have to be my absolute number one favorite cigar. Now you've already mentioned the Canary Islands as your favorite place to enjoy a cigar. Do you have anywhere else that you would say is the number one location that you just love sitting there, having a good cigar? Maybe it's with somebody, maybe it's not with somebody, maybe it's by yourself. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, it was like right over here, but you made me move to my left before we started. So just here on my porch, man. Like just on my porch, honestly, on a summer day, because it's cold right now. I can't smoke inside. But just on a summer day when it's nice, I mean, on the porch, like it's quiet. It's my house. But I have a question about your three cigars that you're saving. What are you storing them in? Because that's
Right?
probably like you're probably better at knowing how to store
So
cigars than me. So
I wouldn't necessarily say so, but have you seen my humidor setup here at the house? You have, right?
is it a refrigerator? I don't know. I think it is, right?
You're It is a refrigerator. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. So
awesome,
it's an
man.
old
That's a
refrigerator and it's not plugged in, but a
okay.
refrigerator seals. Like if you shut the
Yeah.
door, you just need something that seals completely. And so I have one of those like office refrigerators or like man cave refrigerators. And it's unplugged and I got it maybe like 15 years ago and something happened to it and it stopped working. So I was thinking, well, I need a good place to keep my cigars, and it's a airtight container. So why don't I just put my cigars in there? And so I've used it. Like it's a crappy, old, nasty refrigerator that I think I bought at like Walmart for 50 bucks or something like 15 years ago,
Where
and
do you
I
get the
keep all
idea?
my cigars in there. And of course, uh, I don't know. I've been using that for like 12 years, so I don't remember where I got the idea, other than I just know that it was a sealed container. And I'm cheap, right? So I'm super frugal,
Yeah,
and it would
that's
be
true.
nice to have like this super expensive wood humidor, but those run like $1,500, and I'm like, I have
Right.
this $50 refrigerator that's just going to go in the dumpster anyway, so why would I not use it, you know? And something
Right.
that's cool about it, something that you haven't seen because you haven't been to the house in a while, is I have cigar stickers and so I'll have to post that. But I have cigar stickers that I've been placing on the refrigerator. So like maybe 40% of the way down, it's just full of cigar stickers. So not only does it work really well and it's super practical and it's super cheap, but it looks cool because I have all those stickers on it.
Yeah.
With if I bought like a mahogany regular humidor, I'm not going to stick a bunch of stickers on it, you know? So
Right.
it's unique. It's in its own special way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, my favorite place to smoke a cigar would have to be anywhere you are.
Oh man, that's
You're
that's a good one. I love it though, man. Like honestly, I won't smoke a cigar now because it's cold outside unless unless I'm on a call with you. Like that's why I smoke like once a week.
right. Well, I mean, I'm inside right now, so I'm nice and warm. I mean, I do have my window open because my wife
Hmm.
gets mad because the smoke kind of goes throughout the building. But I'm on the third floor, so smoke goes up. It doesn't really go down that much, so I'm pretty safe. And I don't do this that often. Like we're planning on recording podcast episodes once every 2 weeks or so. So if that's the case, like I'm not going to be smoking up here much. But then I also have an air purifier. So after I'm done smoking a cigar, doing a podcast episode, like I'll put the air purifier on and it clears everything out like right away. So an hour after recording, like you can't smell anything. And
So
what a lot of
you
people don't
never
know with cigar,
you never you never talked about why you got into cigars. Like why did you go from me giving you a
Oh,
crappy cigar to now, like, I mean, even more than me, like way more than me, really had gotten into cigars and kind of became a lifestyle for.
l- loving it. So this is actually a cool story. I'm not sure if I told you this or not, but I smoked that first cherry cigar and I hated it. Like it tasted like smoke.
Yeah,
And that's the beautiful thing about these cigars. They don't taste like smoke. Like they have flavors to them. They're not flavored cigars, but they have the tobacco richness to them. And the cigar that you got was just freaking awful.
yeah.
So maybe 2 years later, maybe 3 years after that, I'm a sign language interpreter, and so I'm interpreting for this like conference for this deaf guy who had traveled to North Carolina from where he lives in another state. And after the conference, we're just chatting it up. And he's like, "Hey, are there any cigar shops nearby?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a smoker friendly like down the road. I don't know if they sell cigars or not, but let's give it a shot." So we went over there and he bought a blondie, an acid blondie, and he was like, "Do you want to try?" I was like, "Sure." So he bought me a cigar as well, and we just stood out next to his car and we just talked and smoked that cigar for like an hour. Now,
Hmm.
I would never smoke an acid blondie again.
No,
The flavored cigars are disgusting to me.
right,
But that was my introduction to cigars, and after that point, like I just fell in love. I looked for cigar podcasts. I looked for cigar review videos. I started reading up on cigar literature. You bought me that History of Cigars book. Like I've
right.
gone into the deep end with this stuff and just
Hmm.
absolutely love it. But that's how I actually started getting into cigars. Some famous cigar smokers that people might not realize, of course, everybody knows the Churchill cigar. So Winston Churchill was one of the most famous cigar smokers in history, and he would smoke up to 10 cigars a day. Now, this is going to be the only cigar that I smoke today. I'm
Yeah,
assuming that this is going to be the only cigar that you're going to smoke today. Yeah?
right, right. Yeah, would be the only one I smoked this week, probably.
Sure. So JFK was a big cigar smoker. He, of course, is well known for purchasing a massive stash of Cubans
Hmm.
before before enacting the embargo on Cuba.
Hmm.
So, which, whatever, he was president, he has the right to do whatever he wants. Mark Twain was a big cigar smoker. Of course, he wrote
Really?
Huckleberry Finn, Tom
Yeah.
Sawyer. You always see Mark Twain like he just has a cigar in his mouth, you know?
Hmm.
Uh, Arnold Schwarzenegger is
Okay.
a massive cigar smoker. Like you always see him talking about cigars. He calls it a stogie. So he's always like, "Yeah, I gotta have my stogie," you know.
Get out
So he's
the
really big into
stogie in
cigars.
my mouth.
And then somebody else that, due to our background, you might find interesting was a big cigar smoker was Charles Spurgeon. Do you recognize the
Yeah,
name
I knew.
Charles Spurgeon
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all?
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. I mean, even Michael Jordan is like a connoisseur of
Michael
cigar.
Jordan, right?
He's always, yeah. I mean, you look at any of the documentaries with him and non-practice, not game, he's smoking a cigar. It's funny. I'm coming home from the gym just about like an hour ago, and this guy next to me. I mean, I don't really see this a whole lot, but he's smoking a cigar as he's passing me on the autobahn. And I was like, man, what are the odds that we're gonna film our first podcast today, and the guy next to me passing me smoking a cigar in his car? Do you smoke in your car?
That's I don't. So I, I don't. I don't smoke, especially now. Like I never smoked in my car before, just because I don't know. I didn't. Like I know that a lot of people find value in that it helps with the frustration of driving. Because I mean,
Hmm.
especially like I live near a big city and like traffic can be awful. And I've heard people who smoke cigars in their car say that traffic is much more bearable if you smoke a
Hmm.
cigar while you're driving. And I get that, but this is not something that I've ever really been a fan of. And I
Got it.
doubt it will be anything that I pick up. Two, like I don't want my car to smell like smoke and then
Hmm.
somebody wants to take a ride with me somewhere. Like we've all gotten in that car where the person was a cigarette smoker and they smoked in their car and their car smelled like trash. Like I
Right.
don't want that experience for anybody who wants to ride my cigar. But can you think of anybody else who's famous for smoking cigars?
Hmm. Is there one that, like, is there one that you're like still trying to find? I don't really know.
No. So I wanted to go
I don't
back to
know.
Charles Spurgeon.
Okay.
So Charles Spurgeon, for people who don't know, and this relates to our background especially, was like an evangelist or a preacher in England back in the mid 1800s, like 1860 or so. I could have the dates wrong, but I know that a lot of the reason why people think that cigar smoking is bad is because they think it would be against their religion. Like
Mm,
religion says that you're not supposed to partake in cigars. And just to be clear, like cigars and cigarettes are very different products. So when I puff on a cigar, I'm not inhaling the cigar smoke at all. Literally just
right.
taking the cigar smoke into my mouth and then puffing it right back out. People are like, well, why are you smoking a cigar anyway? I listen to the Bill Maher podcast, and he smokes weed on his podcast, and he's asked
Hmm.
the same question of his guests who enjoy smoking cigars, and he's like, why would you smoke cigars? Like, you're just literally puffing it in your mouth and blowing it out, so you're not breathing it into your lungs like you would marijuana or cigarettes, where you're getting that extra high, like that extra lift. So people
Hmm.
like that don't understand the experience of smoking a cigars.
Ah, you know who I just thought of? Joe Rogan. I just thought of Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan is a
Yeah,
massive cigar smoker. You're
every time
right.
he's on a pod, he's smoking a cigar. You left that one out so I could try to find it because you're
No,
throwing
no,
me.
no. I did.
I totally
That's
forgot
so
about him
funny. I didn't even think of
because
Joe
we
Rogan.
talked about him. I
Yeah.
think like, oh no, we were talking about him for the earphone or the headphones.
Oh, for the headphones. That's right, because he wears headphones in his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He smokes a very specific type of cigar, but I can't remember the brand. So I mean, of course, he has however many millions of subscribers, so he gets free stuff
Right.
sent to him all the time. He has a
Mm-hmm.
cigar manufacturer that ships him cigars, and of course, in turn, he talks about it on his podcast. But I can't remember the name of the
Okay.
cigars. This podcast is sponsored by Padron Cigars. Go grab your Padron.
Yeah.
They paid us absolutely nothing for
Yep.
that.
And then J.C. Newman.
So, question of
That's
the
right.
week.
Right.
Oh, yeah, so funny. We're also sponsored by JC Newman. Question of the week. Are cigars dangerous? Should people start smoking cigars? And how are they different from other forms of tobacco? Is nicotine dangerous or a helpful supplement? I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize because there have been a lot of studies on
Mm-hmm.
nicotine as actually being a help and not a hindrance. And nicotine's kind of, I don't know, drawing the ire as being the bad guy, but it's all the other stuff that's in cigarettes, not the nicotine, that's super
Mm-hmm.
dangerous. What do you
Right.
think about cigars, and what would you tell somebody who is like, "Oh, so cigar smoking's dangerous. It's bad for your health." Like, what would you say to that person?
Well, I mean, the other stuff that people put in their body can be even more dangerous than a cigar. Um, like, I mean, I'm pretty health conscious, so like, I don't drink soda. I try to put only natural stuff into my body, or yeah, organic, I guess you could say. I mean, cigars. I mean, there's so much studies out there. You told me the studies because you've delved into research more than me, but how cigar smokers, there's
Right.
data that cigar smokers may actually live longer than a non-cigar smoker just because of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe just the decrease in stress that they experience, whether it's a daily smoke or maybe a weekly smoke, because it's just so relaxing. But I mean, I think at this day and age, there's so much that you can put in your body that's harmful for you. I think compared to those things, to a cigar, I think a cigar is not even dangerous to smoke. Just my perspective.
Yeah. So the studies that have been done, unfortunately, have included cigarette smokers who also smoke cigars. So to be clear, there are people who have smoked cigarettes in a previous iteration of their life, or they currently smoke cigarettes, and every now and again they'll have a cigar. And when they smoke cigars, they do inhale. And so the
Mm,
studies include them. But even with those studies, they studied the FDA and other health organizations have studied the intake of cigars. And overall, with those people included, there is a slight health risk for smoking cigars versus not smoking cigars when
Okay.
cigarette smokers are included.
Mm.
So I think it's 3 years. So if you're just looking at cigars and cigarette smokers, which are included in that statistic, then someone who smokes 1 to 2 cigars a day will live on average 3 years less longer than a non-cigar smoker. But in those studies, they talk to pipe smokers, and pipe smoking is where that crossover doesn't happen. So cigarette smokers typically don't smoke pipes, and in the
Mm.
interaction with pipe smokers actually live 3 years longer than non-pipe smokers. And you ask
Mm.
yourself, well, why is that? Because it's tobacco. Like you're smoking the same thing. Literally, all this is leaves. Like there's
Right.
nothing in this other than leaves. So that's
Right.
the same thing you put in like a pipe. And why would a pipe smoker live 3 years longer than the average non-smoker when a cigar smoker would live 3 years less than the non-smoker? And I think it's what you talked about. Like it's because a pipe smoker has that moment where they can de-stress from the day. They can sit, just like look at the smoke, enjoy an experience, let the cares of the world like
Mm.
go off of themselves. They don't have to think about, whatever it is that's troubling them, and they can just let all of their stress go out while they're smoking that pipe. So, that being said, for me, smoking a cigar is very similar to smoking a pipe as long as it's not an unhealthy amount. So, there was a time where, and like I was smoking every day. Like I would
Hmm.
make it a point to sit outside
Right.
and smoke a cigar once, twice, 3 times a day sometimes. And I realized at that point, like it's gone beyond a peaceful experience and it's become almost an obsession for me. And so I
Yeah.
stopped. I didn't smoke for like 3 months, and I've slowly started to get back into it. And now, I mean, I would say I will smoke 3 days a week,
Hmm.
maybe.
Hmm.
It depends. Like it depends on how cold it is outside. It depends on how busy I am during the week. But that's typically about how much I smoke. But it answers the question for me of whether or not cigars are healthy. And to me, 100%, especially if they encourage relationships. Like one of the reasons why we talk so much is because we smoke cigars together.
Yeah, that's true.
Like we'll FaceTime each other and just sit there and chat and smoke cigars. Like it's an instigator, and that
Hmm.
conversation is good for our mental health. Like
Right.
socially, having somebody
Hmm.
that I can talk to and depend on. Is it the same way for you?
Yeah, it is the same way. Also, though, everything's in moderation too. Like, you look at anything that you do in life, you got to do it in moderation. I think the same thing with cigars. Like, I look at Church smoking 10 cigars a day, and I'm like, if he's awake for like 14 hours and it takes 45 minutes to an hour to smoke a cigar, like the
Crazy,
moment he wakes up, he
crazy.
smokes and he goes to bed smoking. Like, that's nuts. So it's just like everything in moderation. But I tell people a lot, and I know we talked about this too, but I've never had a bad conversation over a cigar. Like I've just never,
Never.
because I will smoke only with people that I care about. And even when friends come over and we smoke a cigar, like they're my friends, so we smoke together. So maybe part of the reason why there's never been a bad conversation is because I care about the people I smoke with. But I think that uh, yeah, there's maybe some negative connotations that go into smoking cigars, but I mean, look in the refrigerator and see what else is in your refrigerator that can also do damage to you, other than a cigar.
Yeah,
So that's kind
yeah.
of the way I see
Well, and that's one of the beautiful things about Europe and America, like the difference.
it.
So
Hmm.
DHHS recently has been Department of Health and Human Services here in America has been making changes so that food manufacturers can't put all the crap that they've been putting in
Right.
food
Hmm.
for years, causing Americans to have very unhealthy lifestyles, unhealthy habits of eating because of
Hmm.
the ingredients that we're allowing into our food. And Europe has nipped that in the bud. Like
Right.
already, you have laws in place that prevent preservatives and really unhealthy stuff from being added to foods. But you made the observation the last time we talked where people in Europe, like they eat super healthy, especially
Mm-hmm.
when compared to Americans. Like Americans eat crap. But everybody in Europe smokes. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not even cigars. Like everybody in Europe smokes cigarettes. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Like you can't. I know in America, I think because when I was serving at Ryan's Steakhouse, we had a smoking section, but there's no smoking. You
Right?
can't smoke inside buildings. They have designated areas to smoke, but man, everybody smokes here, and it's an eye opener because you think that Europe is more health. I think they're more health conscious. But yeah, I mean, even when you go to buy your cigars, like you can't. I don't know how it is in the States because or your cigarettes. When you buy cigarettes in Germany, it's always over the counter, and they put like on the cartons like these nasty pictures of like a hole in this guy's like side of his stomach, or like half of a face blown off by some whatever reason. But they put like these horrible pictures on the cigarette cartons, and it's not romanticized, I would say, like it has been and maybe was in the past in the States, where cigarettes are
Like the
romanticized,
50s.
the Marlboro man. So it's not romanticized, but I think it's just it's ingrained in the culture, and it just has always been that way. So yeah, you'll walk around and see cigarettes everywhere. It's people smoking cigarettes.
Which begs the question of if Europeans have gotten it right with food and Americans have 100% gotten it wrong, like I don't even think that you can argue that the food that we put in our bodies in America, if you eat junk food, like if you're eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dews, right? And
Right.
or even just everyday stuff, like even crackers, like the
Mm-hmm.
crappy content that's in that food, if Europe has gotten that right and they know that you're not supposed to use preservatives and all that, but they haven't completely banned cigarettes, like maybe there's something to that. Now, granted, there are
Mm-hmm.
studies that show the health risks of smoking cigarettes, but going back to the cigars and whether or not they're healthy issue, like to me, especially in a culture like Europe where they frown on unhealthy stuff, it seems like smoking is more accepted. And is that possibly because they see the value of being able to put your troubles aside? Like, so Europe is really well known for having a really calm culture, like a
Mm-hmm.
peaceful culture, a culture where you don't have to work 24/7 or constantly be running around. Like they take vacations, they
Mm-hmm.
have better mental health conditions, like all of that. In Europe, did they get something right in its people understanding that there's just something about smoking that is hugely beneficial to your mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and if your mental health is right, then your health will follow. Do you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think it's right, but I also think that um, maybe sometimes I feel like in the United States they blow up certain topics, but then they let the more deadly topics or the more topics that should be talked about kind of slide. And I mean, we won't get into
It's about
politics,
money.
right? But no, it's like big
Well, I
pharma,
think it's like
big
it's
pharma.
money, 100%.
Yeah, well, big pharma, I feel like controls a lot of that in the States, whereas there's not big pharma, from my understanding, here in Europe. You know what I mean? So that could be an issue because there's not as much money involved in it. But um, after living in Europe for, I think we're going on 4 years now, or going on 5 years, like the lifestyle here is definitely slower, definitely healthier, and that the persona of having to work all the time and keep up with the Joneses is not as prevalent here, which is why, I mean, I feel like raising my son here is better than what it was on Guam and then what it is in the States. So it's part of the reason why we moved here and why we will stay here.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful, like that's a beautiful observation. I completely agree. So with this podcast, we are going to be doing segments every time we record. And one of the segments that I voted for, and I think you would really like as well, is a dad joke of the week.
I don't got one. Do you got
My
one?
brother Brent. Oh, I got one, 100%.
Okay,
I'm
good. Because
ready
I
for
don't
the
got
dad
one.
joke.
I don't got one.
So we're gonna
Soren
do a
hasn't
dad
told me
joke of the
one.
week.
Usually Soren
So
is
the
telling me
dad
these
joke
jokes, but
of the week is: Are you ready?
I'm ready, man. Give it to me.
What do you call a fake lasagna?
Fake lasagna.
What do you call a fake lasagna? And dude, you're
It's
like
pro
how
it's
many
probably
hours
super
from
obvious.
Italy? You should know this.
Yeah, I should. Let's
How far
see.
away are you guys from Italy?
Northern Italy, where it's like 5, 6 hour car ride. Let's see though,
So you
man.
should know this. Italy's known
Oh
for their
man,
pasta.
I have no idea, man. I can't think. Like, I see the thing about
What
dad jokes is I don't want to think about it. I just want you to give me the answer so I can laugh. You know what I mean? Like that's like the
so
whole purpose of
what do you
dad jokes.
call what do you call a fake lasagna? You call it an impasta.
See, I could never got that. I was thinking of like a technical term for like spaghetti or something. But okay, that's a good one. Does that mean I have to
Well,
come
good
up with the
try, good
next?
try.
Does that mean I have to come up with the next dad joke next week? Or are
You
you
can
doing
have
this
a dad
segment?
joke. No. You're a dad. I'm a dad. So either of us could come up with dad jokes. So if you have a dad joke for the week, then I will put
Okay,
my dad joke for the week aside and let you
gotcha.
tell me the dad joke, whatever it is. Does that work?
Or we can both do the dad joke and give everybody the double laughs. I don't know.
Ooh, double laughs from dad jokes.
Yeah. Don't
So
you think? But do
next
you think?
segment of the week. Do what?
Do you think that dad jokes now are overused? You think, or what do you think about that?
No, not at
Okay,
all,
all right.
man. I love a good dad joke.
That's
So,
true.
man, when I'm going through I do Instagram, and so
Okay.
whenever I'm going through my Instagram reels, one of the main things that comes up, like one of my main topics, are comedians and like podcasters who do dad jokes. So, like that's one of my main feeds. So I love it, and there are millions of views on comedians who do the stupidest dad jokes in the world, and it's just like what? Like that's hilarious and people love it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
Hey,
I don't know about you.
you have to check out if you're on Instagram. Well, you're on Instagram. You have to check out Morgan J. Have you ever heard of Morgan J? We have never talked about this, but have
I've
you heard
never
of Morgan
heard.
J? So he's this comedian
No. Who is this?
who he goes and let's say he has like the venue that he's at, and these are like big venues. He turns on auto tune. He's on his microphone, and he will
Oh,
like,
I have seen him.
oh man, I have got stuck on him. Like I despise death scrolling, but I will death scroll for Morgan J. Like that's how good I feel like he is, and how funny like his act is.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff. I'm trying to think. So the comedians that come up for me are Shane Gillis, Joe Rogan, of course, because listen to a lot of him.
Right.
Theo Vaughn. Um, so there's this Gary Busey. He has a very unique style. I love watching him. I can't remember his last name.
Okay.
Kevin Hart comes up a lot for me.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I wasn't ready with the list of comedians and their
Yeah.
names, but it's
Right.
one of
Right.
my main things. So anyway, back to
Okay.
the point. Dad jokes are 100% the way to go. So I think we should have a
I'm
dad
in.
joke segment in every
I'm
single
in.
episode that we do. Let's do it. So the last segment that I want to talk about, which is one that you were super excited about, and I'm actually super excited about this time because I have something I want to talk to you about,
Hmm.
is the segment of what are you playing, watching, reading, or listening to this week that has impacted you the most? Bro,
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I can. Would you rather me go first, or would you like to
I,
go first?
I'll go first. I'll let you puff on your cigar while I go through what I'm reading and
I'm
stuff.
I'm, I'm getting I'm getting
Hey,
close to the nub. I'm gonna have to
we're
take the
good.
wrapper off, man.
Oh, we talk about nub. I like nubs. Cigars, those are good.
Yeah, the cigar.
Yeah, I
They're
like those.
okay. Not my favorite,
Let's see here. What am I
but it
playing,
is what it is.
watching, reading, or listening to? I know we listen to different podcasts. Like you are very like financial, like you said you're Howard Clark, right? Like you listen to Howard
Nerd.
Clark. Yeah, yeah. So
Clark Howard.
Clark Howard, right? So I haven't.
I
I
do.
probably
Listen to a
should,
lot of Clark Howard.
I probably should listen to
I
him.
used to be a big Dave Ramsey fan,
Okay.
but not as much anymore.
I've been binge listening to on podcasts the John Gordon leadership podcast. And I know like I've been sending you some stuff about John
Right? You
Gordon.
told me about that.
And man, I listen to that podcast not because of the guest for the most part, but because of John Gordon. Like his whole thing is all about positivity and leading with positivity, and I'm not necessarily like in a leadership position like right now, but like on my lock screen on my phone, I have written live positive on, and so every time I'm on my lock screen instead of a picture, I have those words, those two words, live positive, just because I think that positivity and just that outlook, if it permeates your life, then I think all your interactions become positive, like coworkers, your wife, your child, your children. But I've been binge listening to him, and that's a John Gordon podcast. He's written like 30 books, um, with like probably the most popular being the Energy Bus, Training Camp. So these type are like fable type books. I'm reading currently. I just bought 5 books like 2 days ago. Um, I'm currently reading Ryan Holiday's book, Right Thing Right Now, and I just got in the mail yesterday. Wisdom Takes Work. So Ryan Holiday is a modern day Stoic, and I like to subscribe or ascribe to like
Bro,
the thoughts that
bro,
he.
is that his newest book?
Which one? Wisdom
Is that
Takes
his
Work.
newest book?
Yeah. Did you get it?
Yeah.
No, for
Bro,
real?
no, that's not cool at all because you know what I got you for Christmas?
Are you serious,
I did. I bought you Wisdom Takes Work for Christmas.
dude? You know me
You
too well, man.
butthole. You're not supposed to
Thank
buy
you.
it for yourself.
Well, you didn't tell me, but
So
well,
funny.
looks like you get to give me another gift.
Here,
uh,
it's too
so
late. We're coming to Europe in like two weeks.
nine
I don't know that
nine
I'll have
days.
time to figure
Dude,
out another gift for you.
hey, you got Amazon Prime, right? They ship overnight. It's okay.
So funny.
But that's all. I mean, that's
Sorry to
all
cut
I'm.
you off. My bad.
No, no, no. It's okay. That's all I'm listening to. Like, I gave up music like, man, like probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I hardly ever listen to music. And I went to like listening to podcasts, audiobooks. Like last year, I read 100 books, and I think 2 or 3 of them were actually audiobooks. That was like
That's
97
crazy.
or 96 books, and so yeah, I mean that's like a choice I made a few years ago. But what about you? What are you listening to? What are you reading?
So recently, and you may have heard of this, but I recently ran across a book called The Let Them Theory. Have you heard of it at all?
No, I haven't. Let them like
So
let
I
them.
go right, like let them, Let them. So not lit them.
I see what you
Let
did there.
them. Oh crap, we're not in the dad
Wait,
joke
wait,
segment
wait. Are you
anymore.
gonna add sound effects to that?
No, I won't.
Okay, you should like to do.
um, but I ran across this book, and so I go through segments. So early on in life, I read, as you know, a ton of books. So I read everything by Dave Ramsey. I read everything by Robert Kiyosaki, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I
Yep.
read everything by David Bach, which is The Automatic Millionaire. You know, I read everything by Ramit Sethi. I read everything by Tim Ferriss. Uh, some of John Maxwell's stuff, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, like all those old school books that talked about being successful financially. Clark Howard, which you've already mentioned, he's written 30 books. I've read most of them. So like I was really big into reading, and it was getting to the point, um, and I think the last book that I read where I was like, okay, I read Cal Newport's Deep Work,
Hmm.
and it was good, And it was excellent. But the premise of the book was just, hey, go somewhere, don't let people bother you, and focus on your work for long stretches of time.
Right.
Ta-da! I like that, and it was a good book, right? So Cal Newport's amazing. It was really good, but it had gotten to the point to where all the themes were being rehashed in previous books that I'd read. Now,
Hmm.
granted, it was in the author's voice, so it had that uniqueness to it, but I kind of stopped reading nonfiction. And now I'll only read nonfiction if it's like really, really highly recommended. But I ran across this book, The Let Them Theory. It's by Mel Robbins.
Hmm.
And she is a podcaster who has blown up in like the past 5 years or so, I would say. But I really liked it because it talks about how when you have stuff that happens in your life, rather than get anxious about it, rather than get uptight about it, just let it be. So she gives the example of how she used to be friends with these couples, and another of her friends moved to town, and she used to hang out with these couples all the time, but then the couple stopped hanging out with her and started hanging out with a new couple, and she felt like really angry about that, and she was almost immature to the fact of like, you don't want to be my friend anymore. And she made the point that, look, of course, yes, friends come into our lives, friends move on, like we're always making new friends, we're always establishing new relationships. But if somebody does something that really bothers you or really affects you, rather than stewing on that and letting it make you angry, just let them do whatever it is that they're going to do, because you can't
Hmm.
control other people.
Yeah.
Like, you can't control how they think about you. And another point that she has made in this book, I'm almost done, not quite, but is people will always have negative thoughts about you. There will always be somebody who doesn't like you for some reason, whatever it may be. You can't please everybody, so therefore let them think whatever it is that they want to think. Like, don't be bothered with it.
Hmm.
Now, as you know, I typically don't have a problem with that, because it's let them from that perspective is almost like F them.
Yeah.
Like, forget them. Like, who cares? Let it go. Like, I'm not going to think about it. And I don't really have a problem with that, because if someone is a jerk, or if someone is rude to me or doesn't want to be my friend, whatever it may be, I'm really good at being like, okay, like, cool. Like, you don't want to be my friend anymore, or you want to choose another interpreter for a job rather than me. Like, cool, that's fine. But she flipped it on its script, and later in the book she talks about, yes, there's the first part of this formula of letting people be, not worrying about what other people think, don't be anxious about what other people say or do. But there's also the let me theory, where it's, do I need to do something to myself in order to improve the relationships that I already have? So, for instance, let's say that you do something or say something that angers me, or you have an opinion on something that I don't agree with. Now, I could be like, well, I'm just not going to talk to him, or I'm going to get angry, or or fine, I'm going to let him be himself, and I'm just not going to talk to him, whatever it may be. I
Yeah.
need to look at the relationships that I have and the interactions that I have to see if I need to do something in order to improve those relationships. Because one of the aspects of the let them theory is, if I only do let them, people are going to make us mad. People are going to piss us off. People are going to say things and do things that we don't like. And if we only have let them, fine, whatever, if they do whatever it is that they want, then it's going to get pretty lonely. Like, we're going to be the only one in our little circle of friends or socially, unless I'm willing to do the uncomfortable part of, yes, I'm not going to let what you say or what you do bother me, but also, what can I do in order to be a more friendly person? And yes, while there is this continuous stream of friends that will come in and out of our lives, like, that's just natural. We all are going through different experiences. We all are moving in different ways in our life, so therefore we will have different friends. But what can I do to make friends, to be more friendly to the friends that I already have? Am I stepping out of my comfort zone? I mean, you know that I tend to be a little more anxious. I tend to be a little more socially inept. I tend to stay like on my own, but what am I doing in order to step out of that shell and to be a better person to the other people who happen to be in my life? But that's what I'm reading right now. That's been really good. And it's called
Well,
The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins.
I know what I want for Christmas now. So no, man, that sounds great because like
That's that's
it's
the funniest dad joke you've told.
no, it's like I'm into that, man. Like the older you get, Michael Gervais has coined the term. I think he's coined this term FOPO, fear of other people's opinions. That's not really fear
Right?
of the opinions of others. And man, we talked about this
Right?
like couple weeks ago, but I think
Yep.
the older you get, the more you just don't care what other people think, you know? And when you're younger, you're trying to create your
Please
identity.
lots of
And
people.
yeah, and then it's just kind of you get to a point where like, it's not for me anymore. But I've never heard the second part to that. Like, of course, you always like let them be, or like you said. But so yeah, I want to read that book. So if you want to buy it for
Well,
me for
maybe you'll be
Christmas,
getting a special Christmas present. But look, if I give it to you for Christmas, you're going to have to be like, I didn't know that you were going to get this for me. This is absolutely amazing.
of
You have to
course,
promise that you're going to
I
do
will.
that.
Now I got to go buy you a gift because I haven't bought you
No,
a
no, no,
gift.
no, no, no. That's not what the joke is. I was so disappointed because I literally bought you the
You thought
newest
about
Ryan
the gift. I
Holiday
know.
book.
You thought about it because you know I like Ryan Holiday.
I know you love, and I
And
do too. And I love Stoicism, and that's definitely like a topic. So we have a list of like 50 topics already that we've
yeah.
discussed. We have notes that we share, and we're constantly changing, adding, expanding. So there are lots of different topics. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because it's an excuse to talk to like one of my best friends in life, right?
Yeah.
So my wife, of course, is my best friend, but the relationship, of course, we grew up together. We're brothers, right? We're two bros lit.
I just
But
sound effect.
not only through smoking cigars, but the experiences that we've had, like the tough times that we've shared,
hmm
the input and the feedback that you've given me specifically has been invaluable to me. I I don't know that I could have gotten through life without it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And doing a podcast with you, like while we call and talk to each other all the time, this is an excuse for us to sit down and actually schedule a time because sometimes it is 3 weeks
Yeah.
or a month before we can catch
Right.
up. Well,
Some.
doing a podcast is an excuse for me to get to talk to somebody who I'm excited to learn from. Like you're one of the most intelligent people, the books that you read, the thoughts that you have, and they're going to be topics where I'm going to have questions on like leadership, coaching skills, like many people don't know that you were a professional basketball coach in Europe. So like the things that you learn from that, the things that you learn not to do, the things that you learn to do. Like you have been a prominent podcast guest on lots of podcasts out there, and then I get the opportunity to chat with somebody who's so amazing and so knowledgeable about so many different topics. Like that excites me because if I'm just calling you up, like we may talk about I don't know, Soren and Katie and
Mm,
Megan and Eli and how we're doing and like everyday stuff, but do we
right.
really get into the meat? And sometimes we do. Like sometimes when we're talking, we do get into those really meaty, deep subjects,
Right.
but this is more of an excuse for us to look at specific topics, do research on it, and then to share and help each other grow
Yeah.
just for doing a podcast. Like I don't even care if anybody listens to this podcast or watches this on YouTube. Like all I care about is growing as a person and you help me grow as a person and become a better person because of the insights that you give into my life. So
No,
thank you.
no, I echo all that because you almost killed me when I was 18. No, but I echo it, man. Like
This is true.
um,
This is
I
true.
mean, we'll get more in depth and all that, but yeah, I mean, I think that if you have one significant, as a man, you have one significant friendship, like that's all you need. Like you don't need to have five or six close friends. Like you have your family, you pour into your family, and then you have that one. one other dude that you can, there's some things that I would tell you that I wouldn't necessarily discuss with another acquaintance or friend or even Katie. Um, yeah, I think it's you've like we both seen each other at our worst. We've told each other things that were, probably would not be discussed in public. We talk openly about our finances.
Right.
We uh,
Right.
talk openly about mistakes we made as fathers, and I think that, I mean, honestly, like I'm looking at the time now. I'm like, dude, we've been talking for 57 minutes already, and I want to keep going.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't want to keep listening, but yeah, I think I'm
But
looking
it's not
forward.
about that.
It is, yeah, you're right, but the topics that we have, like you said, like I would say like maybe 65, 70% of the topics, like I think I'm going to be asking you more questions than me trying to give answers, but um, you're also at that point where, at the age where you've failed quickly, where you've done like entrepreneur type stuff that I've never done, that you've failed on, and then now you're hitting your stride and other things. But I see you as like the guy who is willing to try anything new, to test yourself, test your ability, and to, I guess, to test your perseverance, because you have done things that have been risky, like financially with your entrepreneur spirit. And like I don't have that. I don't have that. I want to be comfortable. I want things to be the same routines. But like when it comes to the financial topics that we have, like I'm going to be taking notes more than anything else.
I mean, it'd be good. It'd be good conversation either way, right? So, I have a plethora of knowledge in certain topics. Not that I'm the expert in those topics, but there are things where we can bounce ideas off each other, and then there are things where I'm unaware of the depth of knowledge that you have regarding other topics. So, like,
Mm,
I'm super excited about that. Thankful that we get this opportunity and looking forward to more conversations. um, I mean, we've had issues like even setting up this podcast. Like my mic, I didn't have the right connection for this mic,
mm,
so I'm going off my headphone mic today. But we're like, look, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the setup in the room, like I want to have specific lighting in the room so that my background looks cool.
yeah.
Like it's cold outside for you, like you don't feel like being outside in 30-degree weather, like
Yeah.
all of that. But we said, look, let's just sit
Yeah.
down, let's start this, and we're going to try to record every 2 weeks or so. Like we may even record weekly sometimes, but we're going to spread out the podcast release times, and all of that so that we can have about a 2 week schedule, um, and just have that regularity in our lives so that we can grow as people, like grow as brothers, grow as men, grow as adults. Because like there's so much that I can improve on. There's so much that I look up to you on
Hmm.
that you're so much better than me at. There are things that I know that we can talk about, but just that iron sharpens iron kind of a thing is why I wanted to do this podcast, and I'm really excited for future episodes and like what this actually holds for us, not only as brothers but as men. You know,
Yeah. And, I know,
super excited about that.
I know it's cold out here, but this is what we do anyway. You know what I mean? Like you're usually on your porch,
Yeah,
and it's like you got your smoking sweatshirt on. I got my smoking sweatshirt on, and whether it's 30 degrees or in the
yeah,
summertime, we're still chatting. Like it's still happening. So yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I'm looking
just
forward
a
to
little
the
bit
topic,
different environment.
looking forward to the topics, looking forward to the conversation, and I think this is gonna be a good thing.
Yep. So people can find us on most of the socials. So Instagram, going to be posting reels there. Two Bros Lit, TikTok, X, Twitter. So I do have an X Twitter account. Haven't posted anything there, but I have it ready to go so that we can make posts on stuff that interests us. See, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and X, I think, are the platforms I'm going to be on. And I'm not on Facebook. You are on Facebook.
Yeah.
So it might be beneficial if you start a Two Bros Lit Facebook page, and then
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can handle that. That's a
Yeah. Yeah.
possibility. We can talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that offline for sure.
Sure.
But look for us on all the socials. Follow us if you're interested. If you're not interested, totally fine because we're going to be doing this anyway. Even if we have two people. It's so funny because I was talking to RJ.
Yeah.
I texted him last night. RJ's our nephew, and he was stoked that we were going to be doing this podcast, and I was like, bro, we're going to have 3 listeners 3 listeners for the first year of the podcast. It's going to be me,
Yeah.
Brent, and you. And we're going to be the only person that listens to any of
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
So super looking forward to it. Any final thoughts that you have before we log off?
No, I mean it's there's things that you can do with family and with with brothers. When you grow up, you may go play basketball together. We did. You may do vacations together, but I think doing something that's as pointed as having conversations like this, and even on topics that I know that we're gonna probably go back and forth on difference of opinions, I think it's healthy, and I think
Sure. Yeah.
sometimes the world and people need to see that uh, having a brother and having your closest friend be your brother is that's not always the case, and I think it's going to be good for you know people who are interested in maybe pursuing a closer relationship with their family, with their brother. It can be maybe a source of inspiration. I don't know.
Hopefully, maybe we'll see. Until the next episode, we'll see you then.
Thanks, Brian. See you later, man.